Hello, everyone, and welcome to Be Heard, Vaco's LinkedIn Live series that showcases extraordinary women in leadership roles throughout all industries. I'd like to first wish everybody a happy Women's History Month. And I would also like to welcome Kim Stuck. My name is B. Sonnendecker. I'm the Managing Director of Vaco. So excited to have CEO of LA Consulting, Kim Stuck. Kim, thank you so much for being here and letting your voice be heard.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
So Kim, I know we met back at the MJ BizCon last year. You were an inspiring speaker to watch. Kim is the nation's first cannabis and hemp specialist for a major metropolitan public health authority. Regulator turned consultant, she now runs a consulting firm that specializes in regulatory compliance strategy, serving hemp, cannabis, and the psilocybin industries nationwide. Today's show is about inspiring, learning, and sharing Kim's story. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to drop them in the comments section. Kim, welcome. Thank you again so much. So tell us about LA Consulting.
Yeah, so thank you for your intro. That was perfect. I did come from the regulatory space and started my own consulting firm in 2017. LA Consulting is a compliance consulting group that really deals with operational compliance. So anything to do with like consumer safety and worker safety, we have our hands in. So we do a lot of things with FDA, OSHA, fire code, GMP certification, ISO certification, organic certification, good agricultural practices certification. That's kind of where we land. And we really love what we do. We're all very passionate over here at LA about the cannabis industry and just love helping as many people as we can.
That's awesome, Kim. Thank you. I know our viewers are dying to know, how did you get into the cannabis industry?
Yeah, so I started as a wholesale food restaurant regulator in Denver. It was really awesome. It was a really interesting job for sure. And then in 2014, cannabis became adult use legal. So everybody just kind of looked at each other when it happened, because it kind of happened overnight, and everybody was like, what are we going to do about these places? And so our department decided that, we needed to regulate cannabis the same way we would wholesale food. We need to make sure that these edibles and everything and they're following food safety laws and rules, right? Which many areas in the United States do not have health departments that are doing that. So it was kind of a unique experience to be one of the first to be able to do that. And then after a little over 3 years doing that job, I decided that I wanted to really help the industry in a different way. There weren't a lot of consultants out there that did what I would be doing. And a lot of people were very confused about regulations, state regulations and as well as food safety and quality assurance management and those kinds of things. So it was, it was pretty exciting to start that. It took a lot of guts and a lot of faith, I guess, to jump into an entirely new industry and not know. And I didn't know anything about running a business back then. So it was a little frightening, but now I'm so glad that I did it. We've almost been in business for 5 years, and we have amazing clients and an amazing team. So I'm pretty excited that I decided to take that leap.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you must have seen a lot of changes. You've been in the industry since long before it became as mainstream as it has become now. How have you seen it change recently?
Oh, well, it has changed a whole lot. When I first started, there weren't really any regulations in place. So when I would go into these facilities, I'd go into like a dispensary to regulate it, and people would be terrified. They'd never been regulated before in their lives. I showed up with like a badge. People, had a huge bias. They thought I was a cop, and things like that. And I was like, I'm just a health inspector. But people would like slam doors in my face or like run out the back door. There weren't any like potency guidelines at that point. So, we'd go in and I'd be like, well, these brownies that are packaged very interestingly were usually probably made at home. And you didn't know how much THC you were getting in that brownie and, that kind of thing. So it was really very, very different than nowadays. Over the 3 years that I was part of the department, things had changed a whole lot. People were very used to being regulated at that point. They all knew me by name, like they knew that I was coming by every 6 months, and it wasn't as much of a big deal. What I do feel is each state is very different. So when I go into new markets as a consultant, it feels like it used to back in 2014 in Colorado. But then you go to Colorado and it's a very mature market, and it's kind of very similar to the way like a wholesale food manufacturing facility would feel, or, anything else in any other industry. But every single state is kind of coming along and learning its way and doing what hopefully is right for their particular state.
That's awesome. What would you say to what advice would you give other women who are looking to get into the cannabis industry?
Do it. We need more. It was kind of weird back in 2014. I did all the licenses in Denver, right? I would go in and sign them off, make sure they had everything that they needed, their hand sinks and all the stuff that they need to be able to function. And it was like 60% of the industry was either female or minority owned. And it was really refreshing and really cool to see. I met so many really amazing women that had these like really cool dreams and, hey, I'm going to make this business happen. And I'm, just like boss women, right? I don't even know. I mean, that was in 2020, they did another study in Denver regarding that number, and it was down to about 15%. I'm not sure exactly what happened or why that is happening, but is very apparent. And the data pretty much everywhere is showing that there was a huge uptick of women and minorities being involved. But after the years have gone by, that is like declined significantly. So we work really, really hard here at LA. In fact, we're an entirely female company right now. And we really, really try to support the women in this industry as much as possible, because we want to see more of us involved. It is a little unnerving that we're just dropping like flies. And we're hoping that, if more female representation is in the industry, more female professionals get involved, that can change and we can turn that around. And, I would love to see it 50-50 at least, that'd be so amazing. Because in this industry, it isn't like other industries where there's 200 years of law firms and whatnot, where the secretary was a female and the lawyer and the CEO were men. That doesn't exist, right? There isn't that. It's a brand new industry. Anybody can be anything. And so it's kind of like, inspiring to be a part of an industry where everything is brand new, and who knows, we can shape this however we want. But at the same time, we have to get more women involved. And once they're in the industry, we got to get them to stay in the industry. Dang it.
Right.
Yeah. Cause we need more women, and we have women groups, and it's really awesome, but trying hard to get as many women involved as possible. It's a great place. There's a lot of opportunity, and the sky's the limit here. So it's awesome.
Do you have any advice? I know I'm going off script here, Kim, but I know people are dying to know. Do you have any advice on, can we find out more on your website or, organizations? Like, how we do need to get more women involved and more minorities involved. Organizations that you support, or places they can go to get more information about events and things like that. Like, what advice would you give someone who is trying to get in?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different organizations. There is the Women in Cannabis organization. There's if you start Googling, you'll find stuff. There's even financial institutions such as Sweet 420 Solutions in Denver. They have an entire social equity side that they're giving loans to women and minority owned business owners. And it's just like, there are so many people trying to help. I know that a lot of states are also granting grants to, companies that want to offer free services to, social equity applicants, which is really, really great. Because a lot of times when you start out, it's hard to hire a business consultant or a compliance consultant like us. And so if they are giving that money to try to keep them in the business and, get a really good foundation and a really good start, I think that that's a really great thing that a lot of governments are trying to do right now. And it's a good way to do it, instead of just saying, this is a social equity license and these are the people that are involved, or, you have to have a certain percent ownership. Just saying that isn't always helping. A lot of times that's not helping because they go out of business anyway. So, and I think we lost B. Uh-oh.
Didn't see that coming, did you, Kim? I'm sorry, my internet went out. I don't know what it looked like on your end.
It just went black.
That was that was the magic trick at part of the show. Kim, I am so sorry about that. I do want to make sure that the audience knows, how do we find out more about Allay Consulting?
So you can go to our website, www.allayconsulting.com. You're welcome to peruse the website. If you put in something to be contacted, if you just put join newsletter, we have a really great monthly newsletter if you want to be a part of that, or if you won't have any questions and want to reach out. A lot of people are reaching out regarding things like GMP certification a whole lot, because New York is kind of leaning that way. A lot of other states are starting to require it as well. So if you have any questions about that, or about anything that we do, or how you can get involved, just, feel free to reach out.
Great, Kim. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for being here today. I don't know if we have any questions that I'm missing out on, but thank you for being here and for being so inspiring. If anybody does have any questions, or you want more info about Allay Consulting, allayconsulting.com. And thank you again, Kim, for sharing your voice today on Be Heard, and for being such a great partner to me, and such a leader and visionary in the cannabis industry.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.